Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a baby crested gecko in a little 5 gallon, but I'm going to be doing a background like in those two tanks up there and that tank down there, which are all huge, but I know that crested geckos and leopard geckos and different types of animals are smaller at some point, and what a lot of people do is they'll get a small tank then. Normally I just start off with the biggest tank that I can put it in, and really a 5 gallon I think kind of is, because um, it's so tiny. So let's get into the video. So I'm basically just going to be doing an expanding foam background. It's really simple. It didn't even take a whole can or a whole thing or a whole tube of silicone. So it was just a really simple project. Took like a day maybe. Not of work, but like just time waiting. And I think it turned out pretty cool. So let's get into this. Okay guys, so here's this little gecko. Here's this little gecko tank. And now I'm going to go get some more wood to do the background. I'm going to just expanding foam the background real quick because it's going to take like 2 seconds. And then I'm going to take a shower, go to sleep. Then tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll work on this tank. Like carving it and everything. I just want to, try to work on it a little bit. But the problem is I have to touch up this tank, and then I have a 40 gallon upstairs that I also have to touch up, like all these little areas that you can see. So, I'm also going to be doing that whenever I silicone tomorrow, and then I'll be able to set up this tank, and then it'll look nice beside that tank, and then my whole room won't smell, and I'll get everything cleaned up, and the fish will finally get a water change that they've been needing. I mean, they're fine, but like they still need it. And oh, you should see my to-do list. It's so huge. Let's get to doing. So I already had the wood. I just had to go sanitize it real quick. I just put it in the microwave because they were all small pieces. I had this big piece of driftwood that I got from North Carolina, and I cut it up into these smaller pieces, so that's mainly what I'm using. Now I started cutting it. I tried to do it on my bed, but it was just too small. It kept moving around. So I started to cut the expanding foam. Again, this didn't take like very much time at all. I had to do a few more places again with expanding foam because it didn't fill out how I wanted it to. But again, super easy project. Got it all done in basically a day. It didn't take very long. So after this, I start doing the silicone. And when doing the silicone, I did it in the morning, and then later that night, I did the terrarium real quick. So I did the expanding foam, and the expanding foam wouldn't have been that long either. Like I probably could have gotten this all done in a day. But normally I want the silicone to wait for a pretty long time, so it did wait all guys, day. So I've waited all day. I did this morning, and I'm hoping that now all the silicone will be dry, so I'm going to lift this up. I already set up that tank over there, and I did that this morning as well, but it wasn't as much, it wasn't the whole background. Also, I'd just like to say real quick, this gecko pooped, you can see, so that means it's doing well, and I fed it yesterday, and it's eating well as well. So, now I'm going to set this tank up, I think. So I had to get all the dirt off, make sure there wasn't anywhere that I had to touch up, and I'm pretty sure it's basically fine. It's a little bit weirder now, like the silicone's kind of shrank a little bit, and I think maybe the expanding foam as well. So, it's not really too bad, and it's only like in the corners or something, so it doesn't really bother me too much. But I had to make sure all the glass was clean, and then I started to add the dirt and the plants and the wood that I had planned to go in there. I also added some more wood because I didn't think it was full enough. And I didn't have like a ton of plants. I'm kind of running out, but eventually these plants will grow in, and I'll probably add more plants as well as the ones that are already in here. I added wandering Jew, pothos, snake plant, and peace lily, and I think that is pretty much it. So now it's time for the botanicals, which I think completely make a terrarium just that. Like, I think without botanicals, it doesn't look good at all. I don't know why I ever didn't use them in my gecko's cage, my original 20-gallon gecko's cage, because they're just, like, without it, it would look so plain, and I just don't understand how people deal with that. But I think this added a lot to it and made it look really nice. And then I put the gecko in it, and now I will show you the Geckos Enclosure. So I think it turned out pretty good, even though it's not completely filled with plants. I still think it looks pretty cool, and it gives them lots of area to explore and hide. So I have, like, he can go all behind this stuff and all behind this stuff, and then under the leaves since he's so small. So I also have some ivy right there that was planted back there, and it comes out right here. Then I have some arrowhead vine as well, planted right in the middle. Then back there I have the 2 wandering Jew plants. Then up here in the planter I have some peace lily. There's just some tiny leaves back there. I don't know if those plants are going to make it. Then 2 pothos plants, and then 1 big snake plant as well, which I believe is going to come up with another shoot pretty soon. And then I have just a pothos vine right here that doesn't have anything growing on it, so it'll probably die, as well as that one back there. It doesn't. It's just a piece that I had, but hopefully they'll grow roots or something. I think this tank is really functional for this gecko, and I will probably end up selling this tank once I get rid of this gecko, because I won't really need it for anything else. And I do need space, so that's probably my plan. I'll probably upgrade them pretty soon. I'm gonna have an area down here it'll be a 20-gallon tank will be there. This 20-gallon tank, so we'll see what I do. I'll make it so the area has space for a tank that size, but I think that the 20-gallon would end up being alright for it, if I don't fill it up as much as I did with that 20-gallon tank, because I just didn't feel like that gecko Darwin had enough space in there. But I think if I make this one proper, like I make the background less outward, then this gecko will be able to fit in there, and it'll be alright. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it was helpful, and good luck with your new gecko if you're someone who's just visiting the channel just to figure out how to set up your gecko. This is somewhat, like, obviously you're going to want to quarantine your gecko before you set it up, especially if you have a room like this with a lot of other animals. But if you have a room like this with a lot of other animals, then you probably already know that you need to quarantine. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a great day.